You ever have one of those days where someone just shatters your peace, literally, and you realize your normal Sunday evening is about to go full psycho movie? Yeah, that was me, standing on the dock of my grandmother's old lake cabin, sun setting, air calm, feeling grateful for a little slice of quiet. And then, crash, glass everywhere. Some lady in $1,200 heels screaming, "I'm taking what's rightfully mine," before she's even halfway through the busted window. Now, I know what you're thinking. Nobody actually acts like this in real life, right? Oh, if only. You know, I'd spent 3 years at that cabin since Grandma Helen passed. The place a lifeline after my divorce, after the construction business, after life just generally beating me up a little. But never, in 40 years of family memories, did I imagine I'd see someone record herself committing a felony for legal evidence. And let's be honest, the only law this lady, Barbara Jones, HOA president, self-appointed queen of Lake Miller, really cared about was, I get what I want. She's hurling violations at me like confetti. My dock's 2 inches over regulation, my boat's the wrong shade of blue, the cabin needs repainting. Meanwhile, she's standing in a pile of her own destruction, filming the whole circus. I'm the president of the Lakeside Estates Homeowners Association. She shouts it like a spell, as if a camera and a fake badge are going to make breaking and entering okay. You know what I mean? But here's the kicker. The whole rampage isn't about regulations. Turns out, Barbara has been nursing a grudge since my grandmother, at 90, told her no at a town meeting a decade ago. This wasn't a property dispute. It was a vendetta, years in the making, disguised as a war over paint color and mailbox height. I mean, talk about holding on to stuff. Right about then, in walks my old high school buddy, Brandon Adams, cool as ever in his cargo shorts and flip-flops, mid-vacation. Guy looks around like he's just walked into a sitcom and asks, "Everything okay here?" Like women smashing through windows is just Sunday routine. Barbara barely looks at him. Just another fishing buddy. In her eyes, before she's back to her meltdown. Now, the scene is absurd. Her purse explodes on my floor, makeup, credit cards, cash everywhere. Barbara declares my home a hazard and threatens lawsuits as she's literally tiptoeing through broken glass. And the more she shouts, the more Brandon just watches. He's got this quiet, almost amused vibe, like he's seen something like this before, or maybe just really likes cereal. Which, as you'll see, was more telling than I realized. Anyway, Barbara finally storms out. "I'll be back with real authority," leaving tire marks and threats. Brandon and I just stand there in the aftermath, trying to process what the hell just happened. I tell him she's been doing this to other families. The Hendersons, the Martinez family, and suddenly Brandon's smile drops. "What other families?" he asks, his voice dead serious. And right there, the weekend I thought would be fishing and beers turns into something much, much bigger. So, let me back up a sec. Barbara's reign of terror wasn't limited to me. She'd run off the Martinez family, good people, retired teacher, his wife, their grandkids, because their ethnic landscaping was apparently a crime. She'd spammed them with bogus HOA violations, called county inspectors, made noise complaints about kids laughing. Maria Martinez, strong woman, started getting anxiety every time she saw Barbara's BMW. They ended up selling their cabin for half its worth, just to escape her. I'm telling Brandon all this while we sweep up glass, but he's asking these super specific questions, like he's building a case. Not your usual "dang, that's rough" buddy chat. He's taking notes on dates, paperwork, witnesses. When I mention Rick's legal threats, Brandon knows the statutes are fake. "Government job," he says, shrugging, and I laugh it off, because what do I know? But the weekend's just warming up. Barbara comes back, now with her husband Rick, slick lawyer, 3-piece suit, the kind of guy who polishes his hair more than his legal arguments. He tries to turn my living room into a courtroom, waving papers, mixing up property laws, citing rules from the wrong county. Barbara is now recording her own husband like it's the OJ trial. Brandon just leans against the counter, quiet but alert, and every time he asks a question, Rick sweats a little more. Then the whole performance falls apart. Rick can't produce a real statute. Brandon points out the law was repealed in 2019, and the room goes dead silent. You could hear the lake outside. I shoot Brandon a look. He just grins. But Rick's rattled, Barbara's red-faced, and it's clear They've just realized they're in over their heads. By Monday morning, Barbara's got the county sheriff in tow, Deputy Smith, who looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. Barbara kicks my door off its hinges. Yes, again. Declares, this is what real authority looks like, and starts directing the deputy like she's Spielberg and he's her extra. Brandon politely asks for paperwork, badge numbers, and the deputy practically melts. Brandon drops another bomb. He works for the state. Corruption cases, you know, and the poor deputy nearly passes out. Barbara, meanwhile, keeps measuring my dock and accusing me of destroying the lake's ecosystem. When it finally gets too much, Deputy Smith whispers something to Barbara that wipes the smug right off her face. Suddenly, Barbara is afraid, and for the first time, she's doing a little research of her own. That night, I see her in her car, frantically Googling, talking on the phone, staring at Brandon through my window like he's the boogeyman. Next day, the circus comes to a head. Barbara, Rick, the deputy, a so-called county inspector, who's as real as a $3 bill, all gather in my living room, ready for the final showdown. Barbara's on her phone, Rick's making threats, the inspector's nodding along, and Brandon is just calm. Finally, he stands, flashes a badge, State Attorney General, and suddenly the mood in the room flips like a switch. Rick's face drains of color, Barbara drops her phone, the inspector bolts, Deputy Smith snaps to attention. Turns out, my fishing buddy has been recording everything. Brandon calmly lists off the crimes they've just confessed to: bribery, conspiracy, harassment, all on tape. Barbara collapses, mascara running, screaming about entrapment and rights and knowing people. Rick tries the old attorney-client privilege. Brandon just laughs. Corruption isn't protected, counselor. Within the hour, state police are at my cabin, arresting Barbara and Rick. As they're led away, Barbara yells, "You have no idea what you've started. There are others." And, well, she wasn't wrong. See, Barbara and Rick weren't just HOA tyrants. They were the tip of a whole network, a real estate scam running through multiple counties. They'd systematically harassed, threatened, and forced out families, scooping up properties at cut-rate prices, flipping them for massive profits. Over 5 years, they'd forced out 17 families, made nearly $2 million. The Martinez cabin? Bought for $60,000, resold for $250,000. It was sickening, but once Brandon's team got involved, the dominoes fell fast. Other victims came forward. County officials confessed. Bank records, fake inspections, bribed deputies, you name it. Barbara and Rick lost everything. Their money, their careers, their reputations, even their HOA board seats. Their lakefront mansion was seized, their cars sold, restitution paid to families they'd ruined. The wildest twist? My grandma had figured it out years ago. She'd documented everything: photos, recordings, financial trails, and even tipped off the FBI before she passed. Her notes, hidden in a dusty basement, helped blow the lid off similar scams across the Midwest. Turns out, refusing to sell her cabin had interrupted a criminal enterprise, and she fought them till the very end. After months of investigations, state laws changed. HOAs got real oversight. Victims received compensation. Some families moved back, others found closure, but the entire community transformed. No more ruling by fear. As for Barbara and Rick, Rick did 4 years for conspiracy and corruption, emerged broke and disgraced, pushing boxes at a warehouse. Barbara served time, banned from any position of authority for life, working at a discount store, ghost of her former self. She tried to avoid me, but every so often, I'd see her drive by. No BMW, just a beater Honda, looking right through me. Brandon and I, we kept fishing, laughing about the craziness, sometimes helping other communities who faced the same threats. My grandmother's old cabin, once a target, now stood as a symbol, a reminder that you don't have to be powerful to fight back, just stubborn enough not to quit. So, here's the real question. What do you do when justice finally wins, but the scars remain? Is it enough to see the bullies get their due? Or is real justice about the community healing, the families returning, the peace restored? I guess that's for you to decide. Drop your thoughts below. Was Barbara's fate justice or not enough? Ever dealt with an HOA tyrant or seen a bully finally get what's coming? Let's hear your stories. Because at the end of the day, justice is a community job, and the fight's never really over, is it?